It's a major issue for Hillary Clinton's campaign. Why did she spend so little time dealing with the media? There was that 2-month stretch where she didn't answer any reporters' questions at all. And then after her announcement, she did a sprinkling of interviews with the local reporters. She has yet to do a national television interview. Many days go by before she talks to even taking 1 or 2 or 3 questions from the reporters who follow her around. And I'm told now by Clinton insiders that there's a big faction in the campaign that recognizes that this is a problem and that recognizes that Hillary Clinton needs to deal with the press more regularly, and that this faction includes Hillary Clinton herself, that they are not in denial about this, that they understand that this inaccessibility, and certainly the perception of inaccessibility, is hurting her campaign, believing that it particularly hurts her on the trust issue, and that's shown up in some polls, because these questions fester, whether it's about her email or Clinton Foundation finances or her speaking fees or all of that. The less that she engages, the more these questions build up. Everybody else talks about them. We don't hear from the candidate. Also, because she is doing so little with the media, she has much less opportunity to drive a positive message. She doesn't make much news compared to, say, Bernie Sanders, who's enjoying a media moment, drawing big crowds, including 10,000 the other day, blipping up in the polls somewhat. The degree to which he is surging may be a matter of dispute. But Bernie Sanders is generating lots of news. Hillary Clinton not so much, even though she is the dominant frontrunner. Now, I think that these Clinton insiders recognize that this cannot continue. They would like to have a situation where it's not that big a deal, where it's almost like a non-news event, that she takes a few questions from the reporters who follow her or does some interviews, because as this becomes more routine, and we see this with Jeb Bush, who talks to his press corps regularly, we don't see any headlines that say Jeb speaks or Jeb finally takes questions. It's become routine. Now, there's some concern that the questions that she might expose herself to would be too negative, would create some gotcha moments. Of course, that is part of the risk of being a candidate. Most of the time, Hillary handles that pretty well. She answers the questions the way she wants to answer them. Notorious exception, of course, was that press conference at the UN where she first addressed the question of her private email server 8 days after the story had broken and all the tensions had built up. So I don't know how this will come out, but I do know that it's not just journalists and pundits and maybe political analysts who think that Hillary Clinton has to be more forthright with the media. There are now many people, including the former First Lady, who in her campaign, who recognize that at some point this has to change.